Good morning, Service Alliance community. How's everybody doing today?
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Hey, I'm Jason Shadwin, and I've been here the whole time.
The whole time.
Anybody knows what that reference is? Drop it in the comments because I like you even better if you do.
I wouldn't even have known if you didn't tell me before.
Yeah. All right.
Morning,
Hello,
EJ.
Mike. Hello, Mike, EJ, Jason.
Hello,
Look at that,
Jason.
Jason's
We got
on here
Jason
today.
Shadowin watching here.
Hey,
Woo-hoo!
how you doing?
So today we're going to be talking about what?
We're talking about automation and outsourcing. I think we're going to be talking a lot about automation, though, from our pre-conversation.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a ton of stuff you can do with automation. So,
Wow, Shayna says good morning,
you got your
gentlemen.
stalker chiming in. Look at that.
She needs
She's
to
hugging
say that.
another man.
Yeah.
Why is it
that's
not
awkward.
you?
Yeah,
Her
that
pictures
other man
gotta
is
get
going to be
updated.
interesting to see next week. That's our youngest son, Isaiah. His graduation is next week from Lackland Air Force Base, and then he stays there for tech school. But last time we talked to him, he said he's lost about 13 pounds and gained a bunch of muscle. So
Wow. Proud dad
gonna be,
moment, huh?
meeting a totally different man whenever we get there.
That's good. That's the way it should be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So she says that very loosely. I'm guaranteeing it. Gentlemen, wow. Gentlemen. I don't know about that. Mm.
Well, she must be talking about you.
Yeah. Well, hello, Andy Murrow. I see Andy Murrow's watching. Good
Yeah, I
morning,
see
Andy.
that popping in. Morning, Andy.
He's my bug guy. He's my bug guy. He's a house
Your
call pro
bug guy.
user too. My bug guy. Yep. He's got a really good crew. Actually, that's a whole nother aspect. We should talk about that sometime. Networking. I know we
Yeah.
mention it, but man, you can make a whole episode just off of network.
I got a huge chapter in my book about it.
Your book. Wait a second. Your book dropped today, didn't it?
My book dropped 30 minutes ago.
That's so awesome.
Yes.
You should put a link to it in the comments because guess who's the
That's a
first person
long
to
link.
buy one?
You were the first one to buy one 10
This
minutes
guy
ago.
was the first one to buy it. Like, as soon as you told me about it, I'm like, give me the link. Give me the link.
I literally, as soon as I saw that, I checked it out. I was like, all right, I got to get 10 author copies so I can distribute them, and then you said you were going to buy one. So you're the first official person besides me that bought them.
Yes.
And mine doesn't count.
That's exciting. Like, I personally, I know a few people that have wrote books, but really that like close friends that I would consider. There's just a small amount of people that I know that's published books. So, ladies and gentlemen, watching this podcast, you are in the midst of a published author now.
I know. I like 10 minutes before we got on, I ran out of my office and my wife was in the kitchen and I ran up to her and I said, give me a kiss. And so she gave me a smooch and I'm like, you just kissed a published author. So it was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Morning,
very exciting
Jeremy.
for you today. You should drop that link in the comments. I'm just saying. You're going to get a lot of people like purchasing the books today.
I'll drop it in there. It's a long link though. That's the only bad thing. I got to figure out how to shorten it.
Bitly. I bet you could do a Bitly link.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of makes a spammy-ish link. I don't really like the Bitly links.
So when you're watching this, everybody, go buy Mike Carson's book. It is actually a really good one. Digital marketing for the home services businesses. That correct? Is the official
digital
title?
Marketing for home service businesses.
For home service businesses. Yeah.
It is by far the most complete book that has been written specifically for home service businesses.
Yeah, it's not like all the other fake books out there about digital marketing.
Oh no, it's way more in depth.
Yeah. What do you call fake spaghetti? An impasta. Yeah, all the jokes today are written by AI since we're talking about automation. So if you don't like them, don't blame me. blame Chat GPT 4.0.
Jeremy, I will send you an autographed copy. For sure.
Are you going to be at PSA?
Yeah, I'll be at PSA.
You should have books there to sell.
I plan to.
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome stuff. Okay, what kind of scripture and prayer are we getting into today?
All right. Well, let's see. Why don't you pray us in first, and then
I'll pray us in first. All right, dear God, thank you for the wisdom and the resources to grow our businesses. Guide us in making the right decisions about outsourcing and automation as we discuss this today. Bless our efforts to honor you in all we do. Thank you for all the men and women who are serving our country in the military and the police and EMS. I pray a special blessing upon them, protect them, guide them. Pray a blessing upon each of our businesses that's represented here today and who's watching, and those who will watch in the future. And above all else, as we go throughout our day, just let people see your love through our actions. Amen.
Amen. All righty. Well, today's scripture verse, Colossians 3:23.
Ooh.
Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters.
That's pretty good.
It's hard to remember that. I really try to remember that, and it's really hard.
Yeah. Whatever you do it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So I will say this, because we're talking about it a lot today. That prayer, a portion of it was generated by AI. The scripture references we asked for was generated by AI. There's a lot you can do. And when we did the whole synopsis for this today, we asked AI for some prompts on what would be some good scriptures to use for this. What would be a good prayer to help guide us? So there's a lot. It can be scary sometimes how AI can be pinpointed on. I created a new blog for our website yesterday. I went ahead and published it. I was going to wait till next Wednesday, but you can go on to myofficehelp.com/blog and see this. It is literally talking about the future of customer support, trends and innovations that are in home services. And a big one we talk about is AI, omni-channel support, chatbots, remote assistants, virtual reception. There's a plethora. So go check that out. But again, the image at the very front, I asked ChatGPT to help create an image that would kind of represent what I'm talking about. It's pretty dang scary how pinpoint on it was. I had to take it and do a little bit of editing to it, and you'll see. Hopefully, you can catch the editing that I threw in there. It's kind of fun.
I've used a lot of that and done the same thing, and it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The scary part is you used a website and you posted a song last week.
Oh yeah.
And it was a really good song.
Yeah, thank you.
And I played that for a few of my friends. And just 2 nights ago, I was over at my buddy's house and I played it for him and his wife, and didn't tell him it was done with AI. And I mean, they were like, "What? Play it again. I want to hear it again." And they're like, "That's just amazing at how good you can do whatever you want with AI these days." And now the audio cloning and the video cloning is just getting better and better and better all the time. It's so scary.
Yeah, I use a website called suno.com, and I'm not promoting or anything, but you do have to purchase credits. But you can put prompts in there, and it'll help create the audio for you. So I just published put out a song on Friday, Popcorn Friday. If you follow us on TikTok or some of our social media, you'll see that this Popcorn Friday was a little different because I created our own Popcorn Friday song. And I actually am using another website called TuneCore to publish these so I can possibly monetize these songs as I create them as well. So it's really crazy how easy it is to create stuff with AI and possibly even monetize off of it. So I'll if I can get logged into it, I'll drop my link to my library on Suno, and you guys can check out some of the songs. Some of the songs I completely created the lyrics and words myself. Some of them I had Suno. I gave it prompts, and it helped me to write it. And then a couple times I just went and said, "Here, give me a blah 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 song," and it just did everything. And so there's all kinds of cool examples that I've been using when talking to people about automation in the video audio marketing world. Uh, so yeah, it's pretty neat. And
It
then now
was
we've got
amazing. I was
like
playing around with the free version, the free account level of it, that's got very limited prompts.
yeah,
And I was like, wow, this is like, I'm giving it minimal information and it's popping out some really neat stuff. So this
yeah,
is like novelty for the free version. And I'm like, man, I've seen what you've put out with the paid version. And I was like, wow, this is just
yeah.
pretty cool. So anyway,
It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Appreciate it. Yeah, the
getting
song.
back to our topic at hand,
Yeah.
where do you want to start? You want to start with outsourcing or do you want to start with the automation?
Yes. Let's just number one, what to outsource and when. Check that out.
I feel like we've covered this a lot.
We have. So that's why you're wanting to skip it, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't like regurgitating everything
Well,
all the time. You know what I
a
mean?
quick synopsis of it then. Outsourcing your administrative tasks like scheduling, customer service, to free up time. You can do QuickBooks, cleanups, maintenance. You can, have Mike do your website and SEO. So just go to itdwebdesign.com or myofficehelp.com and see what all that you can do as far as administrative tasks.
There you go.
Hire us to do all that. Now, okay, implementation, finding the right service providers. That's a whole another aspect. Um, you can use platforms again like this. We recommend companies all the time. Mike on his site, he's got partners that he refers. I've on our website, it's myofficehelp.com/partners. You can see all the different companies that we are referring currently. Um, and some of them you get discount codes. So if you're looking at, wanting to create an audio song, I just mentioned suno.com is a good one for AI. Fiverr has been around for several years. You could find freelancers on there. We've used Fiverr. At the end of some of my videos, there's that little video thing that, kind of explodes and there's our logo. I used Fiverr to create that many years ago. And so I use that still today. I need to update it a little bit with the new logo with our computer guy, Mo, as we call him. So, what about
There
you?
are a lot of really good providers on Fiverr, but it's probably 10% of the masses that are on there. So be careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vet people, talk to them before you even think about hiring people, because you can get any freelance platform. It doesn't matter if it's Fiverr or any other gig type platform. You can get some really bad providers.
Mhm.
So really look at the reviews, make sure that they're very recent reviews.
Mhm.
Um, and check the quality of the work. Ask for examples. They usually do show examples, but obviously they're going to show the best. So ask them for some things that aren't, displayed up front.
Yeah.
So, but
Yep.
anyway, I actually have a chapter in my book all about AI and automation. And so our outline doesn't have this, but one of the things that I do talk about in there is the AI chatbots like
Mhm.
you guys have. I even mentioned you in my book specifically in regards to the AI chatbots
Mhm.
and how that's coming up and improving all the time. And I know we've talked about that stuff before, but another thing that I talk about is actual business intelligence and how you can use AI to actually analyze all your data and feed it into these systems, which they're not small systems. They're not cheap either.
Yeah.
But it will look at your, and say you take your last 5 years of history of all the work that you've done for every single one of your customers,
Mm-hmm.
and you feed it into these systems, and you can actually program this stuff or guide it so it can actually do I guess predictive maintenance analysis. It can do all this predictive business intelligence so that you can proactively reach out to people and say, hey, your machine is due for maintenance, or you owned this refrigerator before that we worked on, and there's a preventive maintenance package that we offer for your types of appliances that we could, you could proactively go back to your customers, re-engage them, and resell them, and do all this predictive maintenance or predictive, whatever. I just thought it was really cool because it'll analyze the ages of, refrigerators and washers, dryers, things like that. And it knows the average lifespan of those products.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I mean, it's garbage in, garbage out is the way I put it. If you feed it garbage, it's going to spit out garbage. But the more data that you give these business intelligence systems,
Mm-hmm.
the more information that they can give you back and analyze all that. And it's amazing the speed that they can do it and the accuracy that it can be done. So that's one of the things that you could automate and actually use AI to do. And I think that that's a really big thing that a lot of bigger companies are going to start moving towards doing more, because that's where the money is. Re-engaging your old customers and doing these maintenance plans is a huge moneymaker in the service business industry.
Can you say what the site or software is that you're talking about?
Oh, there's a bunch of them out there. There's
Really?
IBM Watson, Microsoft has theirs. I list a few of them in the book, but they're more the biggest ones, but there's a lot of them out there.
Interesting.
So it just depends. I mean, it's all about what data you have and what you need to do, and the amount of it, and the computing power that you'd need to do it. So you'd have to obviously choose a platform based on what you need.
Very cool.
You're not going to go to IBM Watson if you're a one-man show, just doing 5 calls a day, but that wouldn't make sense. But if you were, say, a 10 truck company or more, then it would make sense, because you'd have a hell of a lot more data to actually feed it.
So what are some good, so for those 1, 2, 3 truck shops, what would be one that you would recommend for that? I know that's a good portion of our listeners and our watchers.
I really don't have anything particular that I would recommend.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because obviously I don't have that data myself.
Yeah.
I'm not a service provider, so I don't use that for anything for that myself. So I can't really speak to that, like, and recommend anything specific.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot out there. I know I use a lot of things in my own business, but they're definitely geared towards marketing agencies like
That's
me.
cool.
So I wouldn't even recommend those for a service company to use.
I know we use, like, for internal meetings, we use ClickUp, which is kind of like a Trello board or something like that.
Yeah. It's a
And
project
so,
management system.
yeah, so in our weekly meetings, we go through and we put tasks in there. We put our rocks in there, to dos, and each week we revisit those. That's something that we use quite a bit of. Another one I was going to throw out there. Oh, like email automation. People still use email. People still use text. Text messaging is still huge, big, but email automation. Some of the shows that we had earlier this year, I went the week to 2 weeks prior, and even up to a month prior, and I created emails. Um, I did a lot of the overlays in Canva, another source that you can automate some things, and some things you create from scratch. But taking those I know EJ uses Canva a lot.
Yeah,
um,
so do I.
taking those, and then we just changed over to Go High Level for email, but we use it for a lot more other things. We're also a reseller, Go High Level. So, um, but I created the emails and I had them scheduled. So whenever I got to the show, the vendor show, I had people come up to me. I sent out the email at 6 a.m. and at 7 they're coming up to me. Hey man, I got your email. I just want to come check in with you and say hey, and I appreciate you sending that. And this morning especially, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to tell them it was automated. you know,
Email
uh,
automation is a huge thing. I use it every day.
yeah, you know, our social media posts. I'm almost 3 weeks ahead right now on our social media post. So things that you see potentially 3 weeks from now is something that I did last week or may have did yesterday. I'll sit down in one day and I'll try to get a week or 2 weeks worth of social media posts knocked out, maybe aside from a day or so I can fill in the gaps if I need to. Um, if something comes up. But it's amazing all the little tools that you can use to help automate your life to make it so much easier. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I
especially
challenge every
stuff
single
on
one of
social
you.
media.
What's that?
I said, especially, the social media thing
Oh
that can
yeah.
be a time suck. So getting all that scheduled and using a social media management tool is huge.
Yeah. If you're not hiring somebody to do your social media management, if you're that chuck in a truck or one or two, 3-man shop, that can't maybe afford to hire somebody right now, I challenge you to find some way that you can create everything, sit down in an evening, work for an hour or two, create a few posts, and throw them out there. Uh, Me coming in to my office help and doing all the marketing, it's really helped me out a lot to be able to not have to. And then sometimes again, I use Chat GPT. Hey, I need an ideal, or write me a social media post for this. It'll give me a good synopsis to use, and if anything, it just helps to get the juices flowing. I pay was it $20 a month or something like that for
Yeah.
the better version of Chat GPT. You mentioned Grammarly, yes, when we were talking, and I went on there and created an account on Grammarly. They have a free version of it as well. Talk about Grammarly a little bit, because this is another really cool tool that will help you when you're writing emails, when you're writing blog posts, things like that,
Yeah,
or writing a book.
it's spell checker like 8.0.
It's
It
spell
takes
checker on Coke,
Grammarly. I've been
Coca-Cola.
using it for years, and I used the free version, then I went ahead and used the paid version, and I'll tell you what, I will never stop paying for that. That is one of my must-have softwares,
Yeah.
because that has saved me so much time, and it will reword an entire sentence if you don't have the grammar proper. Even if you do have the proper grammar, it will reword it so that it makes more
Mhm.
sense, and
Yeah.
it makes it more concise and just shorter, I guess, and more poignant. So that's
Mm.
what I love about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's all kinds of things in there. Like if you're going to use AI is huge. It's been trained on other people's crap, right?
Mhm.
So AI will hallucinate. AI will plagiarize a lot. It plagiarizes a lot.
Hmm.
So Grammarly has a plagiarism checker in the paid version. So if you're going to use any AI for anything that you're going to put out there, and you don't want the plagiarism to hit you, then use the plagiarism checker, and it's great. But their paid version is just amazing.
Hmm.
It's not so much, I guess you could call it automation,
Mhm.
but it's a combination of AI and automation because it can automatically rewrite things for you,
Yeah.
but it won't do it without you telling it to do.
Hmm. That's pretty cool.
So, and that's what I like. Tools like that I actually have control over what's actually happening with the AI. That's
Mhm.
what I like. I like having that control. I like having the ability to reverse whatever it did,
Yeah.
things like that. So,
Well, we've talked a lot about automation, when to automate things, maybe trying some things here, trying some things there. But what about when not to automate something or when not to outsource something? What are some things that come up in your head that are like, this is probably not a good idea to outsource this? What are some of those things?
I really like that we got strategic planning and decision making in house. I think
Hmm.
that's huge.
Yeah.
You can take and I've done this just to kind of make sure that I was making the right decision. Especially a hiring thing. Okay?
Hmm.
I create spreadsheets when I'm hiring for a position and I take all of the candidates and I've got columns for all these different parameters that I'm grading people on. And there's a grading scale for all these different categories of
Yep.
things, and it goes from personality things to the experience with the interview to their resume, and then their actual experience in a particular thing. So I will actually look at that. I'll make my own judgments after, before I make an offer to someone, but
Hmm.
then I'll feed that into AI and say, here's what I have, and give it all the context that I possibly can. And I'll feed that spreadsheet into the AI, and then I'll ask it, based on all the information I've given you and all the information that's in the spreadsheet, which candidates how would you rank the candidates?
Huh.
And it, I'll tell you what, I did this the last time I hired for a position,
Yeah.
and it confirmed whether I was on the right on the right
That's
track or
interesting.
not for
Did you,
hiring somebody.
what, is it Chat GPT or what did you use to do that?
I used both um, Google Gemini and Chat GPT. I never ever rely on one tool ever.
Yeah. Huh.
So I was like, you know what? Let me try those two and just see what they are, because like Chat GPT was the first one I fed it into, but I never fully trust it. Right.
Gotcha.
So I always check with another AI tool. So I checked that. It had the identical results. I
That's
mean,
interesting.
identical. And they're two completely different AIs that have nothing to do with each other. They haven't been trained on the same stuff. So it
So it's
I
interesting
used
that,
it more of a validation tool,
yeah,
you
your
know.
gut was telling you this is the one to go with, and you backed it up with data from,
Yeah,
trusted
yeah.
sources.
I
That's kind of cool.
used an unbiased,
Yeah.
because I had been through the interviews, and I'm having
Yep.
Zoom interviews with these people, and I'm
Yeah.
taking my notes and everything, and I'm recording the Zoom interviews. But then, I had my own bias in
Hmm.
all this. So then I fed it in there, and now I've got an unbiased, machine learned tool that's giving me feedback on what it thought. Now, I had to be very careful on what information I gave it, because
Yeah.
I didn't want to give it any biased information.
Hmm.
So I had to dumb down my notes
Yeah.
and take the bias out of it, and take my personal opinion out of it.
Hmm.
So I had to be very careful because I didn't want to provide it any of that bias or opinionated thing, I guess, topics, in order to get the result I wanted or expected. So
So
it was pretty cool.
the thing that I'm hearing out of that is if you're a one man shop, or you're the only person that is giving input on interviewing or looking to hire somebody, you do have tools out there that can help you that really don't cost you anything extra. Or if they do, it's very minimal.
Very
Um,
minimal.
yeah, and to help you make that decision. So if you're stuck, like for us, we have the interview process usually goes through a couple people. So you have two or three different people's opinions on a person that we would be hiring. Especially when it comes to management positions, then we're talking three or four people that get involved with the hiring aspect of it. Whereas if you're just a service provider that's out there as electrician, plumber, heating and air, maybe you're the only guy and you need to hire somebody, and it's like, okay, who do I hire? Well, there's your an aspect. That's cool. I never even thought about AI
Yeah.
to
Well,
get
I mean,
opinions on.
I have one of my best friends. He's in the process of job hunting right now, and
Mhm,
he's worked at the place he's worked at for over 10 years. So he came to me. He's like, Mike, I need you to help me put a resume together. So I
mhm.
helped him put together this really kick butt resume. And he's not a computer guy. He doesn't know the first thing about even opening a Word document, let alone creating a resume.
Mhm.
So I helped him write it. And then I told him, I'm like, now we need to make this so that it can get by all the automation and AI that the HR people are using, when you upload a resume through their systems. And he's like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, you upload a resume, it's going through all kinds of AI before it even gets to a person. And that AI filters out who actually gets through to a person to be interviewed. And I'm like, so we need to make sure that it doesn't get blocked in that process,
Yeah.
and I was explaining all that, and that's how HR people, obviously, they're using those automated systems. It's filtering out all the garbage, and you only get the cream of the crop that comes through. At least you're getting the cream of the crop that knows how to put together a resume on
Yeah.
paper, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could still be filtering out a really good person that's just not computer savvy. But once you get past all that and you get in front of somebody, that's where you need to be, right? So he he would have been that great candidate for a job that would have never made it past all that AI. So there can be some hindrances to that,
Yeah.
and there's some good things about using AI.
Hmm.
These tools, but you have to use your judgment. That I Out of all of it, I would just suggest you got to trust your gut. They're tools. They're not, I don't care how many screwdrivers and wrenches and, you know, drills that you might have, or, like, you can have the best tools, but that doesn't make you automatically have the skills to know how to use them,
No.
right? So that all these tools in AI, it's all the same thing. You definitely have to use your judgment and experience along with them.
Hmm. Very interesting topics, that's for sure. You were talking about the strategic planning, the decision making, those things. I think in trying to, you don't want to use automation for certain things. Like, um, oh, core values is another one that comes up. Your core
Exactly.
values, I think, should be something that comes right out of you. They always say start with your personal core values first because your personal core values will often help you identify what your business's core values are. So I think that's one you can use AI to help generate things, but I think you should be defining what your core values are, right? I think that's a good example of um, those core competencies that define you or define your business.
Yeah,
Um,
I just put together a new core values um document for my business,
mhm.
as well as a complete guide to our brand voice.
Yeah.
And I it was like four different documents that I put together all about our company, and I used AI to help guide me with I guess how to get to the end. But I fed it, this is what I'm looking for. How do I get there? What are the questions I need to ask myself? I think using those AI for those types of things, just to help guide you
Yeah.
without influencing it, is a really good thing. Because sometimes I'll say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do. What questions do you have? Meaning like Chat GPT. I'll say, what questions do you have that I need to answer in order to get from A to Z?
Yeah.
And it'll spit out some really good questions, and then you can start asking yourself and answering all those questions and ultimately getting to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it all these tools and software, they don't have judgment. So they don't understand anything. They're a computer. They're artificial intelligence is not it has no common sense.
It's not very intelligent.
It's somewhat intelligent, but it has
Yeah.
no common sense.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it doesn't really think logically. A lot of AI, you think that it's so smart, it can do all this and do all that, but it has no logic. It's predictive text is all it is. And it's been trained on a lot of human things, like reddit.com, those forums is a massive
Yeah.
amount of training where AI has been trained. But even there's a lot of idiots over there.
Yeah.
It's been trained on a lot of idiots crap. So you gotta really read into it and use some best judgment.
Yeah.
A lot of
Invest
people
time.
put too much stock in it.
Yeah. Invest time and training on how to use these things as well. Don't just jump in there and be like, okay, this didn't work. Right. For me, even some of the tools that we've used, it took several times for me to create a prompt, even, that helps me better and to learn those tools. So invest some time in training how to use those tools effectively for you.
Yeah,
Right.
and never, ever, ever, this is one of the things I put in my book, never, ever, ever copy and paste
Mhm.
whatever AI spits out and
Yeah.
put that out there on, anything on the web,
Yeah. Make it
because
yours.
it is not good. Like, you have to human edit all of it,
Hmm.
because I mean, this stuff is encoded and encrypted, and there's AI, I forgot what it's called, but there's tools out there that can identify if something's been written but with AI.
Yeah.
But even they're a little funky.
Hmm.
I've written 100% human stuff in comparisons, and it said, "Oh, this is 10% AI," and I'm like, "Ah, bull crap! I wrote this out of my head. There's no way it's AI."
You're just
So
that good. You're just that good.
I
And I know even writing on like WordPress, it suggests you use AI for a certain percentage of it, which I thought was kind of interesting to
yeah.
help your score a little bit. And I still have never went through with using their little widget or whatever it is. So, well, I know time's getting away from us, and I think this was a pretty good topic, and we covered a lot in that. Um, yeah, a couple things I wanted to hit up before we leave. A couple prompts we had in here is evaluate the long-term impact of outsourcing critical tasks. Right, there are certain tasks that, again, as we mentioned, you should probably do yourself, and then some things that you can outsource to make your life simpler. And then ensure you retain control over functions that directly affect your business identity and growth. That's a deep one. Like, we can have a whole nother conversation just on that prompt. Ensure you retain control over functions that directly affect your business identity and growth. So, we covered quite a bit today. When not to outsource, what to outsource, some good
Saul says on
tools.
T1000.
The yes, yes, the T1000.
I'll take it.
Uh,
Saul says, if you're
my
an
bodyguard.
MSA member, try Service Yoda. Sign up for free as long as you're an MSA member.
Cool. Don't know what that is. Do you know what service
I
the other is?
honestly, I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it, so I can't speak to it.
Very, very interesting.
So, all right, everybody, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Only if you got your eyes open.
Have a good one, guys.